Hi everybody, Bluffkin here. Originally these videos were just going to be for my own kind of personal use on recording my journey on trying to improve as a healer, but I had a friend suggest that they think it would be a lot more engaging and interesting if I commentated over the run itself. And so that's what we're going to do. Now I want to mention that I'm not the most knowledgeable player. I'm trying to improve, but every dungeon comes with a learning experience, and I don't tend to talk much over things, so you may hear a lot of kind of ums and ahs, but I will try and just talk about what I was thinking while I was healing this, point out my mistakes and just some general things that I think I know about mobs. For example, this destroyer dragon, it's a pretty dangerous mob if you're standing in the wrong place with that knockback. I thought I understood that you could line of sight that knock, but I think I tried to do it there and I still got knocked back. So we'll have to kind of take that one back to the drawing board. Another thing that I want to look at while I'm commentating over these videos, and this is the first time I'm really kind of watching this video, so this is my first experience of watching myself heal. And so I haven't kind of watched over this or anything like that. I've trimmed a couple of things from the start and the end. But I remember them saying that they wanted to bloodlust this pack. And I think here we had a couple of brutal strikes from the ads here, which probably just, destroyed the tank. In hindsight, what I would have liked to have done was probably Spirit Link. So if we did this again, I would probably Spirit Link on Paul. And then obviously capacitor totem earlier as well. I wrote there that you insta died just because I wanted to try to trigger some conversation to get some feedback on whether they thought it was my fault or whether the tank didn't have the right mitigation up. I mean, you can see that darkness wasn't used, I don't believe, and so maybe if the tank started with darkness, that may have helped them survive. But for now, if we were to do this again, I would certainly Spirit Link that, and then probably just chain healing CDs or the Bloodlust. It would have been the best thing to do. But, one mistake that I can see that I'm noticing at the moment is I haven't even rebuffed Mastery. So on the top left-hand corner there is still 0 out of 5. I wonder how long it will take me to identify that. But we're gonna take these pulls a little bit slower from now on. The one wipe is already 1 minute and 15 seconds worth of added time, and this is because of the peril affix. And just a little bit about my UI. We're using the Atrocity UI, which is the Liquid Radar UI. I just think I love the minimalistic style of it. It's very clean. Everything's in a place where it's pleasing to the eye as well, which is I feel like it's a good looking UI. I'm able to track a lot of things, which I'm trying to improve and get better at doing. The platers, I believe, I need to actually double check this, but the white ones are like spellcasters that can have interruptible casts. So what you'll tend to find is that I will mainly focus and click on one of those, and then I'm watching for casts there that I can kind of contribute and interrupt with, like this one here. The cast is white to start off with, but that just means that my interrupt is going to come off cooldown at some point in that cast, and then I can successfully interrupt it. So just to let you know that that's kind of what I'm working with there. And so here we have the affix out there, the Devour affix. With Resto Shamans, you can AoE dispel it with your Poison Cleanse totem. So that's what I tend to do. I don't find that the success rate of the Poison Cleanse totem is 100%. So there are some times that we get 4 dispels, not 5. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. But either way, what I've done recently is I have added a weak aura to my toolset, which will kind of just tell me the people that still have the affix. Now my UI does show it, but I just don't feel like it's clear enough, especially when it's a bit chaotic. So with this new weak aura that I've put in now, you won't see it on this run because I did it afterwards. I kind of identified the problem here and implemented this solution after that. But yeah, so I'm not the most knowledgeable, so I'm just really going to talk about what I know. As you can see, I'm really far behind here. I need to improve. I mean, I took the dragon last, so it makes sense, but I need to really improve on keeping up with the group and making sure I'm eating as well. keeping my mana up, which seems to be fine. I'm improving on that between pulls. Sometimes I have to remind the tank to stop chain pulling. I don't think that's this kind of pull, but this dungeon, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm just looking at my Riptides here. I had a 2-stack there and I've just cast it. Obviously nothing's happening at the moment. This mob or group of ads is really low health, so not really that scary, although the tank did get quite low. And again, I'm just trailing behind here. So looking at my CDs here for the pull, we're going to have our Healing Tide ready. Ascendance is going to be up in 2 seconds. So we're looking pretty good for the AoE parts of this boss. It'd be interesting to see if I actually do, make sure I pop a CD. I think sometimes when I get these AoE notifications, I tend to let the first one go without healing CDs just to see how intense the healing actually is. It doesn't look that bad, but I know now that with the next AoE I'll probably pop a healing CD just to kind of make it easier for myself. So we've got this Skull Splitter, which I'm assuming is probably the tank buster. Not really much happening in now, but here comes the AoE again. And so, yep, you can see I popped my Healing Tide on this one. And when this, what's the word I'm looking for? When this ability comes out from the tank, from the boss, I'm making sure that I'm trying to drop my pulls furthest away, like on the edges, so it doesn't kind of pollute the middle of the arena that we're battling in at the moment. So next AoE is coming in with this Commanding Roar. Looks like I link it, just makes it easier for us to recover, and then I'm using the totem replacement spell to just kind of move it with us, just to get the most out of it as possible, most efficient. So obviously with this ability there are 3 sections of the arena that you need to avoid. And so we need to make sure we're doing that. This AoE is coming out again. I don't have any CDs for this one, so I just probably popped I actually didn't really see what I popped there. Probably my single healing totem. So I've popped my Poison Cleanse to get rid of the ethics, and we have 5, so it has done it that time. Got another AoE coming up here. Let's see what I do. I think I'm waiting with the Healing Rain. Oh, he dies before that. That's fine. So here I've got my push forward. I don't know what the spell's called, where I just kind of gust myself forward. Really, I should be using that a little bit more aggressively to keep up, because the tank's pulled now and I'm not even there. He wasn't even in range for a certain period of time. So here I just kind of gust to put myself into a better position. I haven't targeted anybody yet, so I have no idea of interrupts that I need to take. It looks like I interrupted just then. Put my Riptides out, killing this ad. It looks like we've got like a dot on us as well, so that's just going to tick. Doesn't seem to be ticking for that much. Actually, it's not ticking. I wonder if it's more you take additional damage from stuff while you have that dot potentially. So here I don't have Capacitor Totem ready. Let's see if I cast it as soon as it's ready. It's going to be ready in 1 second. I do, so I pretty much cast that. I think it's probably because at the beginning of the pull I always tend to look to see if it's off cooldown. So here I came into the pull knowing it wasn't off cooldown, but it would be soon, so it was just always at the forefront of my mind. So we've got the affix here. I have Poison Cleansed. We've got 5 out of 5. Good stuff. We avoided the boss. Good stuff. Our Bloodlust isn't off cooldown for another 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I wonder if that was the thought process of the tank here. Just kind of clear these all out, wait for Bloodlust to come back, which, makes sense. I did notice on the top left hand corner there that I didn't have my Earth Living buff up. I think that was maybe like that for a handful of minutes, but that's been rectified now. Just targeting the plater with the white plater unit, so I can contribute to the interrupts. When you've got my UI here, if you can see where my cast bar is there, to the right of that you have 3 icons. The first one's my interrupt, the second one is my dispel, and the third one is the gust forward. So we can kind of keep an eye on if I had something at that time and didn't actually use it. This is just kind of bog standard. One thing I also noticed that I don't really utilize that much is actually the downpour part of Healing Rain. What I've been trying to do is the totemic build for Resto Shaman seems to be quite mana intensive, so you really want to try and not hard cast things like Chain Hill. I think downpour is also quite expensive. So we're about to pull the boss here with 53 seconds left on a Bloodlust cooldown, so there will be no Bloodlust for the start. I wonder if we actually end up using it anyway. So one thing that I'm doing here is I'm trying to make sure that we bait the first cast that he does. So you got like a cooldown for bait, so a countdown for bait, and so it didn't hit me anyway. You can see the Demon Hunter is shouting for Bloodlust here, but we don't actually have it. We don't have it for another 23 seconds. So the first AoE for this Forge, I wanted just to check out to see if it was something that was healable without having to use healing CDs. I did use my Tide Heal on the second one. And then we have an AoE here that I'm going to get rid of. Let's see if I pop a defensive. I do. I popped my Bulwark here as well. So, you know, really, that's another thing that I'm really trying to improve on, is making sure that I use my defensives to make my life easier as a healer. But also, you know, that's what they're there for. They're there to use. So Bloodlust is off CD here, but we've not used it. Most likely because I didn't see the message from the tank to say BL. But even if I did, I don't know if it would have been as efficient to do it now. It depends on when we do it. I actually don't really know. One thing that I don't like about that leap, the gust thing, is if you gust perfectly over floor crap, you still take damage. I feel like it should only take damage if you touch it. But then again, I guess like levitate and stuff like that might be a bit too broken. But again, if you look here, I'm way behind the pack. I have the gust available. I actually don't know what it's called, that gust forward. I'm just going to keep calling it gust for now. I could be using it. This is probably the pull that I'm most afraid of in this dungeon. I know that they nerfed these warlocks, but I have to try and keep an eye out for those curses. Yep, so one person already died. Don't quite think that was my fault. Maybe the tank didn't have the aggro. We could rewind it, but I just kind of want to go through this. So there's interrupts here that could be interrupted, which I'm not doing. Most likely because I'm hyper focused on trying to keep everybody alive. I'm not there yet where I can, you know, perform really well in highly intense situations. On the top left hand corner as well, you can see that I haven't rebuffed Mastery, the Sky Fury stuff for the Demon Hunter that died. Okay, so this is a Dark Eruption cast. Does a fair bit of AoE damage. And we've got something called Ascension here, which does a little bit more AoE. Puts the curse out. So I've dispelled that on the Druid. So I think like a Downpour probably would have been quite good here, just to press it, an instant little heal just to help top up a little bit. But you can see I'm not using it. If you look at in the middle there, it's disappeared now. But where you've got my Healing Rain logo icon, you have the Downpour one as well. Yeah, so not quite sure. There I kind of was focusing on just something else on my bars there, just seeing if I was going to cast something. So I'm not too sure why that Druid died. It may have been my fault. I'll have to review that. But yeah, just trying to focus on keeping that tank alive. There's curses that need to be dispelled. The affix was 4 out of 5. So our spirit linked here. I'm not really too sure if that spirit link was needed. Things were nearly dead. It may have been better just to hold the spirit link. I don't feel like the group were at a point where anybody else was going to die. I think at this point my thought was, we've got 7 deaths already. I need to try and mitigate as many deaths as possible. It may just be my reactions. I'm not being fast enough. That's why people are dying. It could be their fault as well. I'm just not entirely sure. We have another lava bender here, so just some little bit of AoE damage coming out. Probably not so dangerous on his own. While I'm looking at Riptide now, I seem to be doing an okay job of keeping that on a stack of at least 1 or 0. So we've got 2 here. I'm not actually kind of engaged in this fight yet, so let's see what happens. Got a stack of 2. Refreshing the Earth Shield. And I'm just casting the slower healing wave, I think it is. Or was that the fast one? Can you see how much I know my class? Very, very intellectual there. Hit an interrupt there, that was good. So we've got some AoE. So this is the Lava Bender and the Warlock. So we're going to have curses and AoE damage coming out here. We've got the affix in 30 odd seconds, so that shouldn't really interrupt our engagement here. That druid is really low. That healing touch and healing wave, I believe it is. I think healing touch is the quick one. Again, darkness is still up for the tank. You can kind of see the cooldown just underneath his dead unit frame. Sometimes I'd like the opportunity to talk to these members of my team, my pug, afterwards, just be like, remember that moment? What do you reckon you died from? Maybe it'd be worth me actually kind of looking at some logs. Maybe start logging my runs and then just, seeing. I think that might help overall as well, because then that's just raw data that we're looking at. Alright, so we're moving on to 2 lava benders. Got the effects here. We just hit 4. So watching out for frontals and then watching out for the AoE. So I've got Dark Ascension popping up here, which is an AoE. Still got 2 stacks of Riptide there. Really, for these AoEs, I should be popping Riptide on 2 guys. Spreading out that healing. Trying to keep that tank alive. That reaction was a bit slow there. The tank was low for a while there, and it took me a little while to get to them. Still got 2 stacks of Riptide. I just Riptide the tank there when he had 17 seconds left. My thought process there was probably something along the lines of maybe the initial heal of Riptide, just to keep him up a bit. Alright, let's see if I eat here. Keep everyone up and then start eating. Yep. I find that the gems that they eat, restores mana super quick. I used to have like the chocolate lava cake thing when my shaman was a Tauren. I feel like it wasn't that quick to restore the mana, but I could be wrong, because it is restoring it at 3.something million, 3.2 million I think it is. So I imagine it being the same. Alright, so getting rid of the curses here. Now the real boss pops up. On this fight, I tend to try and help with the ads as much as possible with my slow totem. And my capacitor to stun them as well. So we've got curses out here. I decurse myself. There's 3 curses. It looks like I think you actually just heal through it. Yeah, once that little kind of absorb disappears, the curse disappears. So here you can see that I've slowed. Taken considerable AoE damage. Nothing really happening at the moment, just kind of watching my frames here, my timers. So we've got the affix, we've got no curses out, so that's good. Our poison cleanse, we've got 5 out of 5, which is great. The team do really well with the fixate here. Just trying to keep everybody alive. I feel like this was a bit hectic for me. I'm not really too sure what the best solution is here. Just try and find some space. I should have maybe popped my Grace. Is it Spirit Grace? Spirit Walker's Grace. So I think I started to catch on that you need to heal these curses to you know, to handle that. So another scary pool here. 2 warlocks. Ideally, I think I read somewhere that it's, you know, a good idea maybe to CC one of the warlocks and then pull the group away, and then you really only have the one warlock to deal with. But I wonder if the nerf was enough to not worry about it. Okay, a poison cleanse. Let's have a look. 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool. We've got a full dispel there. So we've got some curses out. Dispelled one of them. I think maybe in future videos I may have to find an alternative solution to recording the audio, because this only gives me a limit of 30 minutes. And I think it might be quite nice to actually pause this and rewind, because I'm just a bit conscious of the time. This corrupt does huge damage to one particular person. And so what I tended to do there was just start focus healing that one person. So stay out the purple stuff, focus heal the one person that's been targeted. A little bit harder with the pull after this one, because there's actually 2 corruptors that we have to deal with. Here we go, so it's on the druid. You can tell by the red mark around. See, that druid died there because I handled the FX. My keybinds aren't the greatest, because I think I have the same kind of binds for things that are mouse over and things that are not mouse over. So for me to cast my poison cleanse totem, I have to move away from the unit frames to cast it and then move that back again. And yeah, I'm kind of commenting here saying that affix, there was a bit of an overlap for me, which meant that I had to, like I say, move away from the unit frame. By the time I got back, being an old man and slow reflexes, the druid was already dead. So we're going to have a corrupts one after the other. At least they're not being cast at the same time. That would be awful. So as you can see, I'm literally just focus healing. I've got enough mana where I'm not concerned about, you know, pumping my really expensive spells into them, my quick, effective spells. But it's one after the other. I'd like to pop my healing rain here. I do. That's good. Now we've got the affix again. So you see, I move my mouse away. I cast my poison cleanse and then I go back again. That's probably something that I need to fix. Maybe figure out what the button is. I know it's 7, which is just a button on my mouse pad. My mouse. I need to eat here. I've got 7% mana, so I'm eating. They seem to be waiting, which is good. Giving a little shake of the character to show impatience, as usual. Alright, we're a good mana. Do I lust here? Where's the bloodlust? Oh my god, do I not bloodlust? Okay. So that's something to improve on, is always making sure that I track the status of the bloodlust. It's off CD, we don't have the buff. We made this harder than it needed to be. Okay, so this here has become considerably easier with the nerfs that Blizzard have implemented. It really is just, once you're in that circle, making sure you don't overlap the purple circles that are on 2 individuals. You know, the crush is just, I think it's just a tank mechanic. I don't think it hits anybody else. And then just stacking up to kind of keep those ads grouped so it's easier to take down. So this AoE was coming out, so our Spirit Link just to make it a bit more trivial for us. I still think it's quite hard to see, and so I've been struck by a tentacle there. I cannot believe we didn't Bloodlust. Excuse me. Looks like our tank doesn't have the Earth Shield on him either. I've just put it on there now, but there's no Earth Shield on me. What have I popped here? Ascendants. Oh, I've popped an Ancestral. And Descendants. Yep. Got Riptides up. I'd like to really put out another one. Oh, I did. Perfect. That one procced as well, so it actually hit 2 people. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, a couple of things really. The Bloodlust there on the end was quite disappointing for me. I should have really dealt with that. And my goodness, I've lost trail of thought there. Yeah, just the Bloodlust and keeping up with the team, making sure my mana was okay, and there's just me apologising about the deaths. I really hope you enjoyed that. I feel like it's actually quite interesting to talk through, just hearing myself as well, being able to identify these problems. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope to be doing this in the future, and have a great day. See you later.